The content of this channel is for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised. You're tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel. Please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell notification button. And please, feel free to share the video. Thank you. What's good, everybody? What's happening? What's cracking? What's happening? I'm the G with a PhD, and you're tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel. This is the place where black men can express themselves freely, straight up, no chasers. And you know, before I get things started, I always like to give a shout out to the members of the Green Gorilla channel. I like to give a shout out to Omni Americana, Donald Watts, Barry Little, Ryan Jackson, HipHop.catv, Black Quizzard 80OS, Coach DC, The Remedy, Kashif Caldwell, Infamous Chillin', I Am Black Man, John Reads Too Much, Nachecha, Leroy Honeycutt, True King 337, B Hillfire, Force Windu, Michael Cavanis, Urban Nomad, Raphael Brown, Barnolas, Kyle J. Sura, I'm Just Jules, The Book of Ronin, Ab Media 83, Damon Harris, Brian McMurray, Mr. Lou Meth, TD Hip Hop Media, Drew Main, Shout Talk Live, The Face, Mr. Heat, David the Man, Afro Analyst, NEU, Ronan Martin, Issa Abdul Zahir, Sir Anthony, Deshaun Nolly, MLR, Charles Rogers, Black Dog, Universal 178, Black Swerve 404, Rashid Barnes, Aaron Smith, DH, See Truth the Revelator, Gold Professor, The Nameless Protagonist, Black Pill Ned Stark, Author Unknown, Odd Collar, Dr. Tiasan Johnson, Brian Williams, Kalan Jakala, Sherrod Martin, Ricky Dawson, Cedric Bowman, True 7360, BK Bourne Shaheed, James Washington, Hostile Adept, Seven Coast Dojo, W Pure One, Roguish the Billmonger, I Care, Lady Miss Thing Green, BGS Ibmore, and Marvin Battle Jr. Thank you so much for being members of the Green Gorilla channel. And I'd like to give y'all a round of applause. Thank you so much. Thank you for your ongoing support and for being members of the Green Gorilla channel and for helping me make things happen behind the scene. So I appreciate that. Thank y'all. Thank you so much. And if you are inquiring about how you too can become a member of the Green Gorilla channel, well, here's how. What's good, everybody? I'm the G with a PhD, and you're tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel, the place where black men can express themselves freely, straight up, no chaser. Today, I want to introduce you to my new membership program that consists of 5 levels where you can invest in the Green Gorilla channel on a monthly basis and receive level-specific perks. Memberships are special because they improve the quality of the content of the channel and will help me to be able to keep the channel going. Now, to participate in the Green Gorilla channel membership program, all you have to do is hit the join button, which is located right next to the subscribe button on my channel page. Now, for all of my subscribers who decide not to participate in my membership program, nothing will change. The content will keep coming the way it always has. Thanks for watching, and be careful out here, people. Bless. So we're back, and I'm the G with the PhD, and you're tuned in. of course, to the Green Gorilla channel. It's the place where black men are able to express themselves freely, straight up with no chasers. And today, what I wanted to do was, basically get into some work of Dr. Tommy J. Curry. And for the most part, I want to read this because, I think that his work is cutting edge, is right on the mark, and he explains some things in ways that the ordinary individual wouldn't think of. He covers bases that need to be covered, and he explores and investigates and critiques ideas that need to be critiqued. And so what I would like to do is read a paper. It's a short paper, but I mean, academic literature can be quite lengthy. But this one is relatively short, and I wanted to read it for you. And the title of the paper is Maleness as a Deleterious Category. Black Maleness as Sexual Disadvantage. Okay? And I'm going to share the screen so that you can see it. So let me do that now. And I'm going to go to the capture window, and I think you should be able to see that. I'm assuming that you can see that. So let's just jump right in. So the paper starts off and it says, Black male studies has demanded a reprisal of the previous scholarship concerning the role that maleness, manhood, and masculinity have played in white patriarchal societies for black men in the United States, Canada, the UK, and elsewhere. The dominant view of black masculinity presented by intersectional and black feminist theories in American universities assert that black men are less powerful white men who desire power and embrace social hierarchy to dominate black women and other marginalized black groups in the black community. And then he cites Cooper, and I'm pretty sure this is Brittany Cooper, and White, who, A.M. White is the acronym that she uses for her first name. Okay? So this very notion, about black men being the white people of black people may have come into popular culture by means of a blog piece written by Damon Young. But it is true. It is a fact that this idea originates in the academy by academicians, not blog writers, who, for the most part, reiterate these talking points. And it's important for you to understand that, because if you don't know, you'll get to thinking that these claims are just being made in a vacuum. They're not being made in a vacuum. They're first being made in the academy, and then they're filtering in to popular media. That's how this works, in case you didn't understand how it works. But I have to remind you of that, because a lot of times you think it's happening spontaneously. This is not spontaneous. Okay? Anyway, these theories that have reduced the study of black males to a mimetic endeavor are promulgated as the cumulative advance of gender studies over the last several decades. So basically, black men are in a mimetic endeavor to be white men, or to imitate white men, white maleness. That's our consummate desire. Not as expressed by us, but as expressed by feminist scholars and academicians who seem to know what it is that we're after and what our interests and desires are, what the springs of our actions are, without even consulting with us. They just know this without even going to the horse's mouth and asking. But the funny thing about it is, when you ask black men what exactly it is that they do want, you find, or you take polls or you do studies, you'll find that black men are the most progressive group of men in the United States, even more so than white women, and oftentimes even more progressive in their attitudes about gender, sexuality, and a whole host of other issues than black women. But you don't get that. You don't hear that. So I'm going to drop a bomb on that one. So basically, this scholarship, he argues, begins with the assertion that black males' desire for completeness and manhood is achieved through their imitation of white masculinity. And that's forthcoming, he says. These works assert that black men are lesser men because of racism, and that black masculinity uses violence to compensate for the centuries of racial discrimination and injury. So in other words, because black men don't have power, they use violence as a means by which to grasp for power. So because they're ineffective at having patriarchal power, they're just violent. They're violent towards women and other members of the black community in general. Now, because these theories are primarily applied to black men and boys, very little effort has been made to empirically verify or ethnographically demonstrate and validate these theories. And see, that's a problem because this is not really actually empirically validated or confirmed. It's just musings, something people are writing, and they're regurgitating these ideas without defending them empirically or going and asking men what it is that they actually think. They're just developing these theories in a vacuum. The idea that black men were violent sexual predators who take pleasure in the murder and rape of others was a cornerstone of the subculture of violence theories coming out of criminology in the 60s, as well as the feminist theories of the 1970s. Despite there being relatively few attempts to verify that black males exist in the world as beings that are driven to imitate the character of white men, mimeticism has come to be the premise from which all work on black males begins. Theoretical research on black men throughout various fields either affirm or attempt to refute the idea that black men are deviant or find the cause of such deviance. So perhaps the time has come for black men and boys to be thought of and theorized differently. So that's what this work is about. The work is about the idea that black men are seeking to copy, Xerox, parakeet white men. That's what this work is about. So the very notion of the white people or black people is not something that was cooked up by Damon Young. It's a part and parcel of disciplines within the academy and thinkers within those disciplines who promulgate these ideas. And somebody has to challenge it. And Curry is doing that in an academic space. Now, the next session is entitled Understanding Black Males' Disproportionate Death and Dying as Gendercide. Now, he goes on to say that the rise of anti-black racism, xenophobia, and right-wing ideology in the United States and Europe make intellectual reconsideration of black men and boys in a timely and much needed project. Heightened levels of fear, hatred, and xenophobia directed at negatively racialized groups throughout the world have especially made black men a target for white and right-wing vigilantism, police brutality, and state violence. Not only is black male death deserving of scholarly attention, it also warrants an invigorated demand for understanding how black male life is critical to the preservation of right-wing and white supremacist structures and order throughout the world. Understanding the life, death, and dying of black men and boys in the United States, the chief right-wing and white supremacist global hegemon, and elsewhere, requires a systematic analysis of the role of the necropolitical destruction of black male death in supporting and enabling the racism, or more specifically, racial domination. So necropolitical means the politics of death. Okay, that's what it is. Okay, this requires an area of study dedicated to analyzing the global program of targeting and demonizing black males throughout the Western world and other regions where anti-black maleness may not be expected. According to historian Amy E. Randall, as scholars, human rights activists, and policymakers grapple with the challenges of how to stop genocidal violence before it starts, a focus on gender-specific actions and patterns might yield insights. Scholars have pointed out there is a high correlation between certain types of gender violence and genocide. In present-day conflicts, if gender-selective slaughter of a specific ethnic, racial, national group of male civilians occurs, it could be a warning that the more generalized destruction and mass murder of that population might soon follow. That's a bomb. That's a bomb. Now let me back out of this for a second. You see, a lot of people seem to think that this is just only something that's happening to black men and it is going to stay there and that it doesn't have the capacity or the probability that it will expand. That's just untrue. That's not true. This has the capacity to expand. It's the canary in the coal mine that I was talking and telling you about earlier. If gender selective slaughter of a specific ethnic, racial, national group of male civilians occurs, it could be a warning that the more generalized destruction and mass murder of that population might soon follow. So what's happening to black men, you got a lot of black women right now, I've heard, I've seen, not a whole bunch of them, but enough of them, calling us bullet bags and rejoicing in that fact. That's ultimate stupidity. Because once they weaken the defenses and they feel like there's a crack, if that's what they're committed to, they come in after who next? It's important for people to understand that, but we don't seem to be able to get it right. The dehumanizing caricatures whites and other non-white people have of black males are the basis of the racist stereotypes imposed on the whole group. Get it? So what they say about us are the stereotypes that they're applying to the entire group. Male or female, gay or straight. Whatever they say about black men is going to apply to the entire group. So you ought to be cautious about what you say about black men. You would think, but hey. The proximity the caricatures of black males have to the stereotypes of their larger racial group suggests that analysis of the distancing negativity associated with black males are central to understanding the intent of racial violence throughout contemporary patriarchal societies. The killing of negatively racialized men and boys is connected to historical patterns of mass violence used to dominate and manage subjugated or conquered populations. These killings are enduring features of social organization within Western and other racialized patriarchal societies. Negatively racialized males are the canaries in the coal mine. I meant to hit the bomb button, but I ain't get it up. The canary in the coal mine. For genocidal processes. For genocide. Their condemnation, degradation, and ultimately elimination indicate rising levels of dehumanizations for the groups to which they belong. Black male studies scholars have suggested that racism is a form of misandric aggression. This statement adds nuance to the formulations of racism that often articulate racism as a claim concerning the status or hierarchy between different racial groups. When one dominant racial group is thought superior to an inferior racial group. Conceptualizing racism as a complex system is often difficult. Ramon Grossfogel defines racism as a global hierarchy of superiority and inferiority along the line of the human that have been politically, culturally, and economically produced and reproduced for centuries by the institutions of the capitalist, patriarchal, Western-centric, Christian-centric, modern colonial world system. As thorough as this definition may be, one is told little about how racism is enforced or the role violence against men play in racist oppression. The disproportionality of lethal violence directed against black males in racist societies compared to whites and women warrants serious study. The difference in the magnitude of violence imposed on black men through homicide, incarceration, police killings, and economic isolation offers evidence that the targeting of black males, as well as other non-white racial male groups, play a significant role in enforcing hierarchies and accentuate systems of racial domination despite not often being analyzed. In The Man Not, I argued that racism aims for the death and dying of the subjugated group such that the dominant racial group can aspire for a more prosperous and less perilous future for its progeny. One of the primary strategies of racism is the misandric aggression or sex-specific targeting of black males in white supremacist societies. The benefit of this volume is that it expands the frame of analysis to the world. Over time, it incorporates subtler methods of necropolitics. So it goes from extreme aggression to death to more subtle methods of necropolitics. The sex-specific killing of black males by state agents and vigilantes, or what has been called male gendercide by some scholars, is empirically substantiated. Yet it remains a theoretically neglected area of concern for scholars working in black studies and on race and gender more broadly. Now the question is why? We know that there's an inordinate amount of black male death, but nobody wants to study it. Nobody wants to say anything about it. Nobody wants to talk about it. I wonder why that is. The extermination of black men and boys operate to maintain social order and racial hierarchy. This is a sex-specific strategy of scholarly discourse that attempts to exclude the black male from civil society. As Augusta Del Zotto explains, in the United States, the systematic objectification and control of poor, particularly black males, likewise play an important role in maintaining the desired social order. In this case, it is informed by the long historical tradition of objectifying black males. While the black female as threat can be controlled through policies of manipulation, the black male as threat requires the implementation of policies of direct force to keep him at the margins and policies of containment to ensure that he does not encroach upon the serenity of growing industrial parks and gated communities. You see that? This ain't even a black man who wrote this, Del Zotto. While the black female as threat can be controlled through policies of manipulation, the black male as threat requires the implementation of policies of direct force. This removal of black males from American society through lethal violence, the prison industrial complex, and the poverty draft into the military has previously been described as a program of institutional decimation. Unlike previous research into the precarity of being black and male in the United States and elsewhere, black male studies seeks to illuminate how the oppression of black men and boys is part of a historic and more global aspect of racist patriarchal societies that seek to exclude and eliminate negatively racialized males who are outside the racial kinship of the dominant group. Perceiving them as cultural and biological threats to the continuity of racial domination, whites and other non-white groups in their own national context severely sanction black men and boys. As shown in the United States by Shervin Asari and Tommy Curry, 2020, their freedoms are more severely restricted, as are their ability to elevate throughout society. Framed primarily as deviants and criminals, their deaths are deemed to be necessary for the survival of civil society. Now, you know what's funny about that is, not only do other people have the tendency to characterize black men and boys as criminals and deviants, we do the same shit to our motherfucking selves. We're the first ones to step up and say that we're deviant. We're the first ones to step up and talk about criminal pathology and Pookie and Ray Ray shit. But you don't want to hear that though. You love that. You love that shit because you feel like it marks you off from this horde of other black men who've been treated in this ridiculously unjust way. But y'all love that shit though, right? This observation does not seek to emphasize the identity of being black and male, as much as the repetitive pattern of subjugating and eliminating negatively racialized males throughout history in Western patriarchal societies. This male outgroup, excluded from kinship and racial bonds, has been a group found in most patriarchal societies that carries many of the most dehumanizing stereotypes and endures the most lethal violence throughout history, as Errol Miller explained several decades ago. Patriarchy has historically marginalized men not covered by the covenant of kinship. Throughout history, such men have been perceived as threats and treated as such. Patriarchy's treatment of such men has always been more brutal and harsh than its treatment of women. Patriarchy's treatment of such men has always been more brutal and harsh than its treatment of women. This contradictory and inconsistent feature of patriarchy has been mostly ignored. By focusing on the motivation patriarchal societies have for the exclusion, rather than the incorporation of negatively racialized males within the society, it becomes easier to see how lethal violence against black males is not simply the product of fear or aversion, as many psychoanalytic theorists proclaim, but a program aimed at securing resources, numerical majority, and cultural influence within a particular geography. The effect of black male death is cumulative. The absence and removal of black males organize civil societies and produces an underclass of black males that may fall below many of the women in the very same society economically, politically, and socially. But we need us a high value man. But the system is working to do everything it can to prevent you from being able to function, to thrive, and to flourish in that capacity. But oh well. Maleness, when claimed under the duress of racialization and white supremacy, is a deleterious category that inverts the gender relation found among whites in the metropole. The targeting of black men is merely one example of how gender is an apparatus of racial propagation for whites, but one of racial diminishment and disposability for blacks. So then he goes into what he considers to be obstacles to the theorizing of black male vulnerability to sexual violence. Now, he says, over the last decade, there's been mounting evidence that black men were routinely raped and subject to sexual violence during slavery and Jim Crow. The homoerotic violence of white men that resulted in sodomizing of black males has slowly come to the fore in our attempts to rethink the institution of slavery. While there is a substantial evidence that white women systematically raped and sexually coerced black men and boys during slavery and segregation, these historical facts have been resisted and de-emphasized as an area of theorization. That's important because white women were involved in the process of sexual violence as well. The history of sexual violence against black males requires a paradigmatic shift in how scholars have come to understand what is meant by gender-based violence. The vulnerability of black men to rape and sexual violence has not only been an understudied aspect of anti-black racism, but an aspect shrouded by denial. A more accurate history of colonization and slavery shows that anti-black sexual violence was not restricted only to heterosexually orientated white males who violated black women. The erotic dimension of anti-black racism, colonialism, and slavery led on one hand to the representation of black men as hypersexual brutes and insatiable rapists, but on the other precluded the possibility that black men could be raped. J.A. Rogers explained that most Southerners still believe or will proclaim very loudly that it is, and it has been unthinkable that any white woman in her sane mind will have any relations with a Negro. However, the records show something entirely different. They showed that white women ran a not too far distant second from the white man in miscegenation in spite of the severe restrictions against her, and which, by the way, shows that she might have done, or what she might have done, if she had been as free as the white man. So that's J.A. Rogers. Despite the evidence of black male sexual victimization, there has been a hesitancy in reformulating theories of gender and sexual violence to reflect this fact. As I have shown in The Man Not, the history of black men being victims of rape and sexual violence is related to how black males experience sexual assault in our present day. The suffering of black males has been solely attributed to the effects of racism rather than also because of gender. This account of black male existence has made experiences of sexual violence appear to be exceptional and rare rather than systemic and repetitive. In the U.S. and Africa, black men who have been victims of slavery and apartheid remain disproportionately at risk for rape and sexual violence and abuse. This research would help explain the current sexual victimization findings in the United States and South Africa concerning black males. In the United States, black males report higher levels of contact, sexual violence, which includes rape, being made to penetrate, sexual coercion, and unwanted sexual contact than black women and white women over a 12-month period. In the U.S., black males report higher levels of contact sexual violence than black women and white women over a 12-month period. Unlike some European countries, the Optimist study in South Africa similarly found that the sexual assault of South African boys was higher than that of their female counterparts. Likewise, in the United States, decades after the repressive regimes of slavery and Jim Crow have been formally abolished, black men and boys remain disproportionately vulnerable to interracial and intraracial sexual assault and violence. The neglect of male sexual victimization, specifically black male sexual victimization, at the hands of women is actually quite staggering. In 2013, the Department of Justice redefined rape as penetration, no matter how slight, of the vagina or anus with any body part or object, or oral perpetration by a sex organ of another person without the consent of the victim. This definition changes how rape victimization and perpetration is understood. Since rape is no longer defined as the carnal knowledge of a female forcibly and against her will, male rape victims are more accounted for in U.S. data. Recent scholarship taking this change of definition into account shows that men are raped and or made to penetrate at similar rates to women in a 12-month period in the United States. The most surprising finding, however, has been the high rates of female perpetration of sexual coercion, unwanted sexual contact, and made to penetrate violence against men. In the United States over a 12-month period, black males report higher rates of sexual contact violence, which includes rape, being made to penetrate, sexual coercion, and unwanted contact, than black women and white women. In a 12-month period, black women report roughly 262,000 cases of rape, while black men report roughly 272,000 cases of made to penetrate violence. In the same period, black men report 865,000 cases of contact sexual violence, while black women report 849,000 cases. Black men experience sexual violence at rates comparable to, if not more than, most women in the United States. But the racist mythology of black men as sexual brutes have neutralized our study of black males as sexual victims. In general, feminist theory has also had considerable difficulty imagining women as perpetrators of sexual violence and rape. As Claire Cohen explains, rape is still the most gender specific of all crimes, where only a man can be the actual perpetrator, only a woman the actual victim. This is an ontological problem that implicates the normative assumptions surrounding how maleness excludes particular outgroup males from the identity of the rape victim. Some scholars might suggest that intersectionality, specifically intersectional invisibility, might be more open to discussing the rape of black males and other subordinate male groups, given its origin in black feminism in the United States. This, however, is not the case. Black feminist authors have insisted since the 1980s that black men were not systematically raped during slavery, or even now as part of police violence in the United States. Davis and James. So probably Angela Davis, probably, okay? This view of black males being invulnerable to sexual violence and rape, despite the overwhelming evidence that black men and boys have been and still are victims of sexual violence and rape, suggests the intersectional frame of analysis as mobilized by black feminists has no way to analyze the sexual victimization of subordinate males. What I argue here is that the need by feminists to proximally locate black males within the regimes of privilege and power because of their maleness is an obstacle to acknowledging the historical role that sexual violence has played in the oppression and subjugation of black men by white men and women across the globe. For example, many of the early feminist theorizations suggesting that black men have power over black women were based on the writings of white subculture of violence theorists. Theorists such as Marvin E. Wolfgang and Franco Ferracuti, authors of the subculture of violence towards an integrated theory of criminology, and Menachem Amir, the author of Patterns of Forcible Rape, were authoritatively cited as evidence that black men rape more often and brutally than white men. Despite their indebtedness to white male-inspired pathological accounts of black male sexuality, feminist authors such as Susan Brown Miller, Karen A. Holmes, and Joyce E. Williams feature prominently in Kimberly Crenshaw's original formulation of intersectionality. Said differently, under our present theories of intersectionality, race, and male gender identity tends towards viewing black males as perpetrators of sexual violence, not the recognition of black males as victims. Black feminist discourse on sexual violence merely reproduces the more general problem of previous criminological and feminist anti-black misandry. Masculinity framed as rapist does not allow for masculinity endemically vulnerable to rape. History reveals the latter is a part of the condition of black maleness, contrary to the insistence of our present categories and disciplinary preoccupations with gender, masculinity, and patriarchy. What black male studies offers is a corrective to the skewing of black male reality. It offers a way to empirically test and to theorize affirming visions for black males that help them, and by extension their communities, to thrive. This book makes a distinction and vital contribution to this endeavor by de-eroticizing black masculinity and reclaiming the facticity of black male life over the limits of anti-black misandric gender analytic. Now, I'm going to stop right now. And this book is forthcoming. And that's all I'm going to shout out on it. But this work is important. This work is crucial. This work is necessary. This is not work that consists in jaw-jacking back and forth with individual women on YouTube having surface level arguments about who gonna run shit. This is something that's taking place at the academic level. And you might not give a damn about it. You might think, well, what does that have to do with me? Well, it's got everything to do with you. But we don't want to support this brother, huh? He needs some therapy or some shit. He needs to be healed before he can speak about it. I'm just asking the question. This man's work and his contributions aren't vital and necessary. His work has no value or merit to the men in this space. I want you to tell me. Tell me no. This work is unnecessary, it's not vital, it's not important to the men in this space. I want you to tell me that with your motherfucking mouth right now, tonight. Explain that. I want you to tell me that this work ain't necessary. Let it come out your mouth right here, right now. I'll wait. I'll wait. These arguments are taking place in the academy. These arguments are filtering their way into the general public. These arguments are filtering their way into law and public policy. These ideals, this ideology is here and it's not going anywhere. I don't know how you perceive what the fuck is going on in this culture. I really don't know. This ain't about having arguments with motherfucking women on YouTube. But maybe you don't see that. Maybe you just don't fucking get that. Maybe you just don't understand that. Maybe you don't care about understanding that. Maybe all this shit is to you is a way to monetize your fucking channel or something like that. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know. I can't really put my finger on it. But I'm telling you emphatically, this work is important. It's necessary because everything else being said in these spaces is to the contrary of the facts. And it's time for a change. If you don't want to change, man, just let me know you don't want change. Tell me you want to continue to rehash the same arguments again and again and again and again and go in a fucking circle like the song that doesn't end. It just goes on and on, my friend. Some people started singing it not knowing what it was, but they're going to continue singing it forever just because this is the song that doesn't end. Just in a big ass circle. And I ain't faulting people from getting it how they live on YouTube. That's all to the good. Do that. But what the fuck, man? We just gonna talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. And then 5 years from now, we still be talking. And 10 years from now, we still be talking. This ain't got shit to do with your interpersonal relationship with your woman, man. Or any other woman for that matter. This is deeper than that. We're talking about gender side, man. And nobody wants to pay attention to it. We want to have all these conversations about fucking who's got juice in this space, man. It's silly to me, man. Who the big kahuna in the fucking manosphere? For real? We got to do better than that, man. But I digress, man. I look, if you like it, I love it, man. If you like it, I love it. One would think that you would welcome scholarship of this magnitude and of this kind. You would endorse it, embrace it, utilize it to sharpen your mental toolbox and your toolkit. I would think that you would want to amplify a voice like that. I would think. This is serious business, man. This is serious, man. This is not a game, man. All this shit about BLM, man, it's motherfuckers getting shot and killed right now. Right now. Over this same thing, man. The same issue. I'm trying to provide a context where we can get the motherfucking ball rolling. Because you know what? Brittany Cooper, guess where she is? She on MSNBC. She gets to say what she got to say on MSNBC. They don't tap us on the shoulder to talk at all. I saw something about some protests occurring for BLM, and they had her sitting there talking, and they had a question about black men. She sat there like shit face. We need our scholars, man, to be able to speak up for us and to have something to say and to be able to analyze these issues at the third and the fourth order of reflection. I read a paper yesterday about a black girl at an all-white feminist college and how they tried to indoctrinate that little girl, and every time she pushed back, she got negative glances and stares and scowls. This is how this shit operates. This ain't about who gonna run and who get the biggest piece of chicken. That's some bullshit. Who gets the biggest piece of chicken? Who gives a shit? This is about gendercide and genocide and the way that it takes place. And nobody's paying attention. And all the while it's occurring, they calling us, the white people or black people, like we're trying to imitate whiteness. And then we're attacking each other, showing no support for each other, looking down on and having disdain for one another, taking cracks and shots at each other. I just don't get it, man. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I don't get it. If any of y'all got something to say, I done left the invite in the chat for you to come up and say it. I'll leave it again. I mean, there's more to this paper, but I'm not going to sit there and read through the whole thing. You get the picture. This kind of thinking can get you fired in a major university. Black men don't even want to talk about it in the university. I'll take a break, man. If don't nobody come in, I'm out of here, man.
Black male studies started off as an academic argument. I thought I was making an intervention into history by just trying to show people that black men were victims of rape during slavery and Jim Crow. And it was just that. It was only that. Just an academic argument. Until I started actually meeting black men who were victims of rape, who were raped by their mother's friends, teenage girls, or other men who lived in their own neighborhoods. Your whole life changes when you hear grown black men holding back tears or speaking through the pain of physical, sexual, or domestic abuse at the hands of black men and women who should have loved them, cared for them, or at the most basic level, not harmed them.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, this is why I'm doing this, man. This is why I'm trying to put a documentary out there so the best and the brightest of the scholars who are actually able to push back or who desire to push back against the narrative that black men are trying to ape white men or trying to dominate black women or any other group of people in the black community. This is why we're doing this. Not somebody trying to get rich or trying to get YouTube notoriety. This work is a passion of ours. It's our consummate desire to try to tell the truth about our experience. Not to get rushes of dopamine. For talking back to a gynocrat. That's not what it's about. It's about challenging these ideas in the belly of the beast, where they're formed and where they disseminate. I'm talking about going to the nest. I'm talking about going to the root, not the branches, not the leaves, the root, the hive. Because the hive is where the ideas are produced and where they give birth to the babies that proliferate the ideas, the fruit. We got to amplify these guys' voice, man. Now, if you say it's not a good idea, okay, cool. I'm done with it. But don't say you really actually give a damn about black men. Just say you like shots of dopamine. You like talking shit. You like to monetize or something. Say that. Say that's what you in it for. Don't say you're trying to help black men. I'm just keeping it 100. You don't have to do it through me. Do it through supporting the brother with his book or something. Or Dr. Johnson with his Black Male Studies Institute. Again, I left the invite. I don't see nobody in this joint, so I'm about to burn wide. You know, it's a Friday night. I know people got things to do, you know. I'm just trying to start a conversation, and not just start a conversation, initiate some action. Because at the end of the day, we could talk all day. Talk, 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 and more talk, and talk. But where are we talking? And where is the impact going to be felt? This is a hydra that we're dealing with. We got to go deep. It ain't enough to just have arguments with miscellaneous motherfucking women and interpersonal conversations. It's not enough. It's just not. It's not enough. I say that black men are human beings. Human beings who are subjected to violence, sexual assault, manipulation, exploitation. We're human beings, man. It's insulting to talk to us as if we are pariahs, predators, poor imitations, facsimiles, degraded facsimiles of white men. It's ridiculous. And that's what I hope to prove and to demonstrate. Chaos Reign, what's going on?
That's good. Can you hear me? I'm on.
I hear you.
Yeah, man. That was wonderful. Is that a second book that Tommy Lee Curry is working on, or that's just
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's the foreshadow. I shouldn't have even dropped it on you. You know what I'm saying? It's like Rakim. This was a tape that I wasn't supposed to break. I was supposed to wait.
I see.
But it's a forward. You know what I'm saying? Like, this man is working diligently on black males' behalf.
I see.
He's a man with a family. It's not a man that hates black women. It's a man who has a family. We all have family. I love my mother to death. This ain't about hating women. This is about telling the truth about black male life. This is not about getting into pointless and incessant circular arguments with women. This is about telling the truth about how this system impacts and treats black men. That's what this is about. That's what this is about. And yeah, you know, the shit that happens, you know, some of the things that, you know, black feminists are saying now and other black women are saying in lieu of the fact that this has become so popular and a predominant narrative in the culture in which we live. Yes, we got to talk about it. We have to discuss it. Because in my viewpoint, it's nothing more than another incarnation of white supremacy in and of itself is what it is. Black to the film. Max ML, what's going on?
What's up, Gorilla? What's up?
Talk to me, man. Like I'm fired up. I'm ready to do something. I'm ready to make something happen.
Man, this is what I'm thinking. Like, we need to have a brain to this movement. So it's like, what better brain than to have is someone an academic that's actually studying this stuff thoroughly. It's like, it's one thing for just like your regular run-of-the-mill guy to have his perceptions of things from where he's at. It's another from when you're in academia and you're actually studying the numbers and this is what you do. It's kind of like, it's nice to have like a Dr. Curry or Dr. Johnson that's actually like thorough with the knowledge to be able to inform us, so we're actually moving in the right direction as far as getting real change.
One would think so. I would think so.
Right.
I would think that you would like be praising these guys, supporting them. Like, I'm trying to put together a documentary. I can't get no. I got 4,000 subscribers. A little over 4,000 subscribers.
Man, and I think
wait a minute. I got 4,000 subscribers. 4,000. Not 400, 4,000. But we can't get enough men to allocate resources in order to make a documentary that will expose the viewpoints of these men to a larger audience, so that they can begin to initiate a conversation that is long overdue.
Well, you know my stance, GG. I always say,
I'm confused. I am still confused. I don't understand it. I don't get it.
I can only say, I don't want to knock that brothers aren't intrigued and they don't see the vision. You can't convince me that after yesterday we still not there. After Wednesday we still not there. We still not understanding that the shit we thought was over with is really just beginning, and it really was never over. That was like an appetizer, So I can't believe that it's not a lack of a genuine interest, a genuine realization of our survival depends on these voices speaking to the whole world. I can only say it's a lack of discretionary funds, and I know you get tired of me saying that. But I ended with, I wanted to read an excerpt from Man Not, just to show brothers that we out here putting in the work and buying books and doing a whole lot of stuff. And I can tell y'all right now, between myself, well, for myself personally, 2020 was a fucked up year for me. It really fucked me up. But I'm still buying books from the brothers on Amazon and doing what I can. So just to show that I don't come on here and bullshit, just to hear myself talk, I want to, with your permission, Gigi, I just want to read an excerpt from the book of Men Not, which is chapter 5
Go ahead,
in the
bro.
Fiat of Dreams. For example, in 2002, when Netta Gibson, a black teenage girl, claimed that 15-year-old Brian Banks raped her at Long Beach Polytechnical High School, Gibson's mother then sued the school district for endangering her daughter and reached a $1.5 million settlement. Years later, Juanetta Gibson confessed that Banks had never raped her, and that he was simply the most convenient scapegoat for a teenage girl fearful that her mother would find out that she was sexually active. So what I want to say with that, the reason why I chose this is because I have a theory that I want to put out there, and I know this is happening a lot, is that the black women are getting the wealth from our demise. You see what I'm saying? And while we're the ones that don't get any settlement checks, nobody's dad, Trayvon Martin's father didn't get no money. We never hear about Breonna Taylor's dad. We never, what I'm just saying is that financially we are underwater, and we can't even sacrifice to survive. And whenever they do anything to help someone, it's the black woman that gets the bounty off of us. That's just what I gotta say.
But man, let me just say this. I said this on a show not too long ago, man, and it's unfortunate, but you can hit the lottery from black male death. You get paid off black male death. It's lucrative. Black male death is lucrative. It's a capitalist enterprise. It's a sport. I mean, you can get rich. I wanted to do a damn, you ever seen Black Mirror? You ever seen that show? On I forget what channel it comes on. It's like a cable show. But Showtime, HBO, one of them. It's called Black Mirror. And ultimately, where a son is just like, I'm gonna sacrifice my life. I'm gonna do something in front of the police and get myself killed so you can get a settlement. Then we can actually keep the family alive and going.
Yeah, that's what's going on.
And it's a shame. It's a shame. All I'm saying is, man, help us to help black men all throughout the world, man. That's all I'm asking for. Help yourself. This is not about clout chasing. Because to be quite honest, if I was in this space and I was clout chasing, I'd be on some Derrick Jackson shit. That's where the money is. I mean, am I wrong? If I just start sitting here talking about, how great black women are and how, men are dogs and how they need to wait for somebody who really truly honors and respects them and their virtue and understands how hard they're working and all that. And all I had to do was play the Derrick Jackson line. Shit ton of money, man. That's where the bread at. Doing what he's doing. But this is deeper than that. This is deeper than that. It's deeper than talking like that. I'm not doing this shit for cash. I'm doing it because I'm trying to expose ideas. I'm doing this so that men can be aware of what the fuck is going on with them. My brother Egbert Field, contribution to the documentary, G. Thank you to the black male intellectuals to give us the knowledge. The best I can do for now. I feel you, brother. And look, you gotta go to the damn campaign, man. I'm not doing this for clout. If you think I'm doing this to get rich, fuck that, man. I'm not doing this to try to get money off of brothers and scam. I'm not on no Dr. Umar. I'm about to start a school shit. You never hear or see from a documentary or nothing like that. That's not what I'm on. I'm not on that. And if anybody has any concerns, any revenue generated from the fucking project can be utilized for a project that men in the space wanted to go and be allocated towards. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to expose, because I know where the belly of the beast is. I know where these ideas originate, and I know what it's going to take to combat it. We're dying, man. We're not succeeding. We're being picked off, held back. And at the same time, people are desiring things from us, resources from us, as if we were white men. If they know what the situation really and truly is, if they know we're outgroup men, we're being subjected to systematic abuse and death on purpose. But instead of being prepped to fight and to resist against it, we're being told we're the white people or black people. We have ambitions to imitate and to ape white men. It's ridiculous. No other group of men throughout history are being subjected to this kind of treatment and behavior.
I think the most craziest thing is right now you hear about to be a proper black male mate, you got to have a 6-figure income, and just the term is vague, but it shows you that what they're saying is if you are short of that achievement, you're worthless, and that's what's being spread around right now. Yet we know two things. That's not even what we always talk about, that the disparity between a black man's earnings with a college degree versus a white man's earnings with a high school diploma. And then there's also that terminology. What does 6 figures really mean? It's such a vague term. Is that 250,000? Is that 500,000? What is the actual numerical value to that? Just saying that, just throwing it out there is just pointless. I'm very confused by that, but I can see that once again, my value is being attributed to the potential for someone else to benefit from my earnings. It's just like right now, Dr. Dre, may he recover speedily and get his health back. You know, that's the first thing they're talking about: how much he has and how much is the wife entitled to if he doesn't, recover properly.
Man, on the topic of a 6-figure man, you know what's so interesting about that is how marriage is set up. Say you're a 6-figure man, you get divorced. Automatically, man, you're going to get screwed in the divorce proceedings, and your wife is going to get half of that. So, depending on how much of a 6-figure man you are, you may still be one. But chances are, if you're like a low 6-figure man, you're out of the whole high value man standing. So it's kind of like we have to look at that in the context of this whole conversation as far as getting things changed regarding legal system, as far as men and how divorces proceed. And
put it this way. So look, I got this guy, man, Cat Scratch. He's been on the channel several times. You're free to come here and to talk and discuss just like anybody else. But look, I'm not showing my face for a fucking reason. There's a reason why I'm not showing my face right now. Because I'm on probation over some bullshit related to a woman. So therefore, that's why you don't see my face. But you also know that I know all these men that I done put together that have already agreed to be in the goddamn documentary. So they know me. Now, either you want to get this done or you don't. If you want them to be in control of the pot or the purse, let them be in control of the pot or the purse. Whatever, man. But I don't this is some silly shit. I don't have time for silly shit.
Yeah, that's
like irrelevant. If we gonna be real, we gotta be real, man. Yeah. We got to be real. We have to look. This is serious shit, man. This is not a game, man. Not to me. This is real.
Yeah, you showing your face or anything for that matter, that's not even a prerequisite. I mean, I don't understand that. I don't understand, like, everybody's got these phobias of something that's not even real. Let's be honest here. I'm gonna go back to the 80s and kick the ballistics. Tell everybody some real game right now. The dollars in your pocket are not real. If you burn them, if you burn $100, can you not get $100 back tomorrow? Versus if you have a diamond the size of a cantaloupe and you throw it in the ocean, can you not get that same diamond the size of a cantaloupe? The realities are different. Are different in the answer to the question. The money you try to hoard is not even real. First off, okay, we know about hyperinflation and the disparaging dollar dropping right now. Is all that's coming? All that's coming. Maybe even tomorrow. But to say but to say a man has to really put himself out there where people are only going to make a half-hearted effort anyway, that's irrelevant. The point is that this is a product that you need as an individual to prevail. And I'm gonna get intimate in my perspective and say that I think a lot of times the difficulties I have in dealing with the adversaries professionally and socially is because they don't look at me as weak, but they know that my brethren, they look at the class of my brethren and they say, he comes from a weak category of individuals, so we can do XYZ to him. And then that forces me to do XYZ and jump over all kinds of leaps and bounds to prevail. So we all in this together with the point that I'm making.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, man. Look, all I'm telling you is you can think whatever you want to think about me. Fuck me. This ain't about me. This is about amplifying black male voices, man. And I got references. I mean, it ain't like I'm just, people on Facebook know who I am for real. I mean, that's just a fact. you know what I'm saying? So I'm just not showing my face on YouTube, but most people know who I am. It ain't difficult to figure it out. I'm not worried about that. All I'm worried about is, proliferating some bullshit on YouTube, and then all of a sudden it coming back to me, I got a case. For what?
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
I'm trying to basically, man, propel black men into the future. The future is contesting these goddamn narratives, these discourses, these frameworks. And if we don't do that, guess what's going to end up happening? Because this is a system. This is not individual comportment or behavior at the interpersonal level that's doing this. This is some shit that's taking place at the academy. It's taking place in government. It's taking place in multinational corporations, the media, and we're not being tapped to have conversations. We have to force our way into the conversation. And I don't like talking, I talk, but I like acting. I don't like to just talk. I like to act while I talk. I like to move the crowd. I don't like to just talk and shoot the gift and to keep up a bunch of confusion. This is just how I get down.
Man, I think the fellas need to understand, like, the way to fund this project is we got to understand how risk works. So if you expect just a couple of people to fund a project, that means you're going to have only these few people shouldering the whole financial risk of the project being completed. Whereas if you take the whole manosphere, however many men there are, and you say, okay, we can distribute the cost of this project against this many men, then that means we're distributing the risk to the point where it's damn near like
it's negligible.
Negligible.
Man, this is what I said a long time ago. Man, we got people in the manosphere, man, of thousands upon thousands, tens of thousands of men that's in this space, correct?
Yep.
Right.
If you had 10,000 men that gave $5, it would be done. It would be over with. It wouldn't take $100 from one man because I already got damn near 40 people who've given $100. You can get 500 men to give $100 and it would be done. I got more than 4,000 subscribers. Now subscribers, really ain't shit because subscribers don't make up or comprise your base. But this ain't just about. This is not just about a documentary. This is more than a documentary, though. Hold on, man, Ian. You got to get your shit right. I can't even mute him, man. I can't even. I had to get him out of there.
You gotta bump him. Yeah,
I had to bump him, but for some reason,
it
took everybody out. You know what I'm saying? Because it took everybody out.
I'm in the waiting room.
Yeah, but I don't see the window. I don't, like it's not sharing.
Oh, hold on. Let me.
Yeah, so when I took him out, yeah, he kind of created some sort of glitch in the system. But I'm not. This ain't high school to me, man. I'm not a high school student, man. You know what I'm saying? So like, but I don't want to make this personal about me. All I want to do is get these ideas out in the public. That's my sole desire. That's it. I have no other desire than that.
Man, there's so many ways to go with that. There's so many ways to go with that. But I just say I just say two things. You're gonna get my contribution today because I just had it come up. Haha. So I got you on the Indiegogo. I'm gonna drop a C note on it. I'm just trying to figure out how I document me doing a C note drop and show my face and all that other shit. Because I'm an investor also. I'm an investor in the market and various things, various vehicles. So I don't look at this as anything more than a beneficial. I see someone, I like to get involved with people that are doing things that when I see someone doing something that can help us collectively, I'm your biggest cheerleader, man. I'm like the head of the fucking.
But don't look at it as me. Look,
no, I know.
I'm not.
I know.
Look, don't look at it as me. It's not me. This is I already said. Look. First of all, documentaries they tend not to make or generate revenue to begin with.
Well, okay? I can help you with that though. Hold on.
Okay, well, I'm willing. I'm willing to do that. That's cool. Anybody in the space can help. To make the project a success. But as long as people have access to it, and it can be utilized in the academy, it can be utilized by government agencies, it can be put out there in the popular media. As long as that is able to occur, that's what is necessary.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. Off rip, I'll send you the documents. I don't want to go into it on an open channel, but off rip, you can recoup pretty much. You're going to recoup a significant amount from the documentary just off of those vehicles right there. Just off of the educational, the governmental, institutional use. Those are easy. Those are easy channels right there. Those are always open, especially now with the absorption of content. They're actually running out of content, bro. Believe it or not, the content game is so strong right now. I mean, like for production value things, documentaries, game shows, all that stuff, they're running out of stuff to keep people occupied. So it's like open season. But a documentary really it depends what it's about, but I think we get too ahead of the game about it being a vehicle for a return on an investment. I think we get too far ahead of that.
Well, my whole thing is this: if it could break even, then men can even get their money back.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, if you know, like I could even dedicate and say, hey, look, all the men who invested, they can get their bread back.
Yeah.
This ain't about me trying to come up on some financial shit. Fuck the money, man. This is deeper than money, man. This is about lives. This is about black men's lives and their reputations.
But what though? We got some low vibrational people that's how they see it. They see it as you trying to get a come up, and they still gonna be sullied where they at. I'm just gonna keep it real with you. That's
some Chicken George. That's Chicken George shit. If there's men thinking like that, that's Chicken George bullshit.
That's where it's at. Well, you're gonna get my video tonight of me filming. I'm gonna email it to you directly. You can use it how you want. Of me making my contribution to Indiegogo. Once I figure out how to capture it without giving out too much of my details, but you got me on Indiegogo for the C note. You know what I'm saying? Because I came up. So that's what I was waiting on. So I got you, brother. But like I said, you're passionate. That's, man, I tell you, my background's in film production. It's not just Black to the Film is not just a name. You know what I'm saying? I'm on IMDb. I do a lot of things. But what I was gonna say, and that's why I read the Brian Banks passage from the book Man Not, because I saw the film, and I recommend everybody go see that film about this man who got his life back from the accusals. We have to, unfortunately, we shouldn't have to be out here trying to clear our names for things we haven't done yet. But that's where we at. That's what we dealing with, So, but this documentary, man, I can see it right now. It's changing a lot. And you know what the crazy thing is going to be? it's going to be such a right hook to the status quo that they're going to be in a place where they're going to have. I always have a theory that if they get a good enough pushback from us, we'll start to see serious changes. We'll start to see laws be changed in our favor. Man, he got it. Iron, what's going on, man? You got to mute yourself, bro. Iron.
But it's all to the good. Look,
Yeah,
I don't want this whole conversation to be centered around a fucking documentary.
Yeah,
that's ancillary. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, but I do want to put out the plug. Man, invest in the damn documentary, man. It's for your benefit. If you're a black man, it's for your benefit. That's it. Not my benefit. I'm just seeing a need and trying to fill the need. Now, you know, like I said, man, I got 4,000 subscribers, man. There's no reason why I can't at least get $5 from each one of those subscribers. That would be damn near 50% of it right there. And some of my subscribers already have done it. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to them. And every Monday, I'll come on and I'll give the names of everybody who dedicated and donated to the project. I'll do that. But I have a sense of urgency because I know how important it is for us to contest these narratives. And I know where we have to contest these narratives. It's not at the level of social media. I mean, that's cool. That's good. I'm not saying it don't need to happen there. It does. But you can't fight a war on one front. You got to fight a war on multiple fronts, man. And we got to fight it at the source. It's necessary to fight this war at the source. And it has nothing to do with interpersonal beefs and hang-ups with women. This is a system. Until we understand it for what it actually is, we're going to continue to be in the same trap perpetually. Ian, man, are you still there, bro? He ain't even there, man. Like, Ian, man, you got to be prepared, bro.
I don't know what's going on.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, man. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, man, I'm telling you, man, here in Atlanta, God almighty. Bro, but listen, I don't think a lot of brothers are serious or are aware of the social political implications of what we're saying. I think what basically what you're doing is rewriting history. And to do that, it's going to take everybody on deck, you know, all hands on deck. But I think a lot of men are still caught up with the fantasy that at some point they can be that number one, that alpha male. I don't think a lot of brothers, even in the manosphere, have let go of that idea. And to some degree, if you're going to go ahead and dismantle this whole thing, you know what I'm saying, that they've been striving their whole lives to get to this alpha male status, you know what I'm saying? I don't think a lot of motherfuckers is really excited about that. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, man, at the end of the day, though, at the end of the day, you can be a big fish in a little pond. That's cool. All right, that's cool. But at the end of the day, man, you got brothers, man, in the academy who are pushing back. And the work they're doing is great. It's excellent. And they're figuring out what is the cause, the origin of these ideas that are impacting everyday black men's lives. That's what they're doing. Their voices need to be amplified, not cut off. They don't need to be stigmatized and pathologized. They need to be endorsed and supported because they're doing work that the average man cannot do. They don't have the expertise. They don't have the know-how. Not that they're deficient. They just haven't trained to do it.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. It's not that they don't have the aptitude or the capacity, but we know where it all begins. We can outline it and contest it and get the conversation started. That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's not against black women. Because did you hear me read what he said in the paper about ultimately black men are the canary in the coal mine?
Right.
I mean, this stuff here, man. Put it this way: it's a precursor of what is to come. You understand what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
So, if it's the case that the killing of negatively racialized men and boys is connected to historical patterns of mass violence used to dominate and manage subjugated or conquer populations, then what you're seeing is something that's going to continue to persist until the reputation, until the solvency and the uplift of black men is established. Until that happens, you're going to continue to see more of the same. And it impacts everybody, not just black men. It impacts the entirety of the community.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
people don't see that. And that's why I laid out my metaphysics, man. We're all interconnected. We're all inextricably interconnected, whether we like it or not.
Stuck together like glue, man. We stuck together like glue, but
But we're stuck together, but we're not. As we are stuck, we fighting each other. You ever see that old? I'm an old Star Trek sci-fi fan, man.
yeah, I probably seen it. Which one is it? Which one is
Where
it?
you got the matter and the antimatter dude going at each other, man. They both
Oh,
the same,
yeah,
but they
yeah.
going at each other.
Yeah, the black and the white matter in the original series, and they
Yeah.
fight each other. And when they connect, it destroys the planet.
So they put them in some zone where they can fight forever in perpetuity, and they just going at each other forever. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I don't want to do that, man. That's not my end goal, to be constantly at odds with anybody, man. I got family. I got 2 daughters, man.
Oh, okay.
I got cousins I love. You know what I'm saying? My mother's dead or whatever the case may be. And I don't have any problem with any women in my family.
Mm-hmm.
None.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not. I've never had a fight with any of my sisters or my cousins. I don't have anything but cousins that are girls, except for second and third cousins. And it's because they were born from their loins.
Mm-hmm.
So I got cousins that are girls, all girls.
Mm-hmm.
Most of my family is girls, women.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have no problem with them on no level. Anytime we get together, it ain't no problem. They ain't trying to boss nobody around. I ain't trying to boss them around. It is what it is.
I don't understand where people go with this black woman. We at the black women adversarial thing. I don't. I'm kind of lost on that part, because to me, it's like what they say is patriarchy. It has nothing to do with black men. We ain't in charge of firing nobody. We ain't in charge of hiring nobody. We ain't in charge of sentencing. We ain't in charge of executions. We ain't in charge of pardoning. So, it seems to me like, and I'm going to say this, I'm playing devil's advocate here, right? While I don't necessarily think that there's any tension or any, what's the word I want to use? Like there's any rift, I do think that you have a couple of elements just trying to skirt around the truth about the patriarchy thing, and that's how I feel about it. They just trying to, because they can't really identify the adversary. They can't really say that it's a white patriarchy, right? So they have to. That's the only time we become men with black women, is when they talk about the patriarchy. But it's really a white patriarchy. But they don't say it like that, because that would be like biting the hand that feeds them.
Man, look, this is how this goes down. To begin with, patriarchy is not something that benefits just men. It benefits entire families. Like, white women are all down with the patriarchy. They are cool. Most white women are cool with the system the way that it is. I mean, you got fringes of white women who, they kick all this feminist stuff, but like the vast majority of white women are not feminists. They're not. It was a woman that got shot at that damn so-called revolution in
Yeah,
Washington.
the insurrection. It's called an insurrection now.
So I mean, she She was
Yeah.
all for Trump, you know. And look, here's what patriarchy is about: protection and provision. That's what patriarchy is.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're looking for black men to be able to provide with what?
Mm-hmm.
You said it earlier. I said it the other day. Black men have less opportunities than a high school dropout that's a white dude.
Yup. And an ex-felon. Throw in there, high school dropout, ex-felon who is white. We have less opportunities than that person. That's a fact.
So if you're looking for a six-figure black man, you're looking for a unicorn. You're looking for that unicorn. But and this is why what Kevin said was what he said was important. Like you're looking for something that doesn't hardly even exist. 3% of the black population, or black male population, who actually, you know, who graduated from college, have that pedigree. But the vast majority of black men do not. Their average earnings are $30,000, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the average income of a black man,
Yup.
30,000.
30,000.
And how can a black man protect you? I mean, in your immediate environment, yes, but like black men getting gunned down in the streets.
Like I try to explain to people when they ask me why he run, why he do this, why he do that, because the brother knows that he ain't got no way to get out of jail. With what bail? With what resources? He can't even get a professional lawyer. It's just a sacrifice to be taken into custody. So of course you're gonna flee. If you know you ain't got no bail and you can't hire no professional lawyer, your only option is to flee. That's why that's why how I explain it to them. But a lot of people don't see it that way. They just see it as, oh, we don't want to follow directions, or we just don't want to comply. Nah, man, you go in there, you could be in there for 3 years, bro, before you even see a judge. You could just be sitting in there before you even get to actually talk about why you're there.
The only thing I want to do is to see a conversation started at a level where it's going to have some impact. That's what I want to see. That's what I would like to see. I know where it'll hurt. I want to take a shot at the root, at the hive. Not with venom and vitriol, but with the truth. That's all we want to do as people who are dedicated to this work. It's not about YouTube, nothing. It's not about trying to gain status and get rich. It's about trying to see a collective enhancement of the flourishing and functioning of black men's lives, because what's good for us is good for the entirety of the community. Although it's been said that it's the exact converse. That's all I want to see. I want to see us all win. I want to see my daughters win. I want to see my cousins win. I want to see my sisters win. I want to see my brothers win. I want to see us all win. But we can't win with lies and half-truths. That's all I want to do, is make sure we all win. Because we're interconnected regardless as to whether or not we accept it or want to believe it. We are interconnected. And what's happening to us is not happening at the level of interpersonal action. What's happening to us is happening related to a system. And the sooner we realize that, the better off we'll be. Because you can be, like I said before, I'll say it again, you can have all the bank in the world. You can be a rich nigga. But your wife can start tripping with you, and then you end up in a motherfucking hospital with an aneurysm.
For real talk. But that's what I wanted to go into about. Again, I wanted to make that point, but I didn't get a chance. The 6-figure salary, right? You got to understand about words. Words are very important in their meaning. Like even right now, a coup, insurrection, sedition. They finally decided on insurrection because there's so many different ways that you can have words mean something. But what I was going to say was, you have a lot of black women saying they want a black man who earns a 6-figure salary. But that's not really what they want to say. What they want to say is they want a black man who is worth 6 figures, who has a worth, who has assets, who has vehicles, things that he can say, all these things add up together, make me worth $500,000. A salary can be taken away from you at any time. A salary, a $500,000 salary, is not the same as being worth $500,000, and that's where I don't understand why they keep misspeaking. It should be, I want to date a man, or I want to be involved with a man who is worth $500,000 or worth six figures. I think they totally get that part wrong with the salary, and I don't understand why all these so-called educated people let them keep saying it incorrectly. You know, it's just absurd.
Man, Charles need to come in here, man. You know what I'm saying? Because he's a professional. He's seen things work at the institutional level. You know, and so you know, it's just about, I don't know, man. You know, look, I'm just one man. I'm not the leader of any group of men, but you know, I have been a leader among men. You know, and it is what it is, man. I don't play around. I don't fuck around and play games. I'm the type of guy, man, I try to get shit done. I don't like to talk for long. I mean, I can talk and 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 talk, complain, 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 complain and complain. But at the end of the day, I feel like I need to do something. I need to make a move.
But you know what though? I'll give you this one thing I learned though in my life is sometimes being still is the best strategy. I'm not advocating that at this point, you know, because you're already doing what you're moving forward with. But sometimes, you know, in life, just being still is doing a lot. It's a damn good strategy. But if you don't mind, I want to read an excerpt from The Man Not, GG, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so this is from The Political Economy of Niggerdom, Chapter 3. And I think this applies to, yeah, right? The study of black men and boys must begin with new assumptions about them that appeal to a new audience. The present academic class, black and white, has internalized the same pathological depictions of poor black males that the larger society has. This internalization of hatred for lower class black men, this racist misandry that links criminality, rape, and domination to a presumed savageness, justifies the disciplinary, I can't ever say that word right, chauvinism against studying them. That's what I want to say.
Man, we got to force the study of black men. We got to force it.
Yeah.
Bottom line,
yeah.
We have to force it. But, you know, hey, man, you know.
I love this book, though. I love this book because,
man,
you know,
this dude book is, man, the book is a necessary piece of literature, man. It's necessary philosophy.
He's in the documentary, right? I mean, I'm assuming he's the principal.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I would love to hear him speak. I would love. You know what I really like is that when he refers to whites and blacks, he capital B's us in lowercase them, which is also something that we were taught back in Black Studies to do a long time ago. I had a professor. He was like, "Yo, don't be capitalizing that name."
Yeah, man.
You lowercase them.
Right. But I mean, you know, at the end of the day, man, I'm in a good space. You know what I'm saying? Like if I hate for people to talk about what they about, but not to actually be about it. That's me. So you know, I'm a go getter. You know, I'm assertive. I always have been, and I always will be. And I'm somebody who likes to push envelopes. I don't like to rest on my laurels, complaining. I don't like to get into jaw jacking sessions with men or women. I'll roast a motherfucker or something like that. I'll do that every now and then if I feel like I gotta do it. But you know, I like to get things done. I'm a completer, a finisher. That's what I do.
Yeah.
I'm a finisher, man.
Yeah.
All the yapping and the talking and the you know the complaining and the crying and shit like that, man. It like at some point it's got to come to an end, and you got to do something. You know, like think about how this country was founded. They weren't just crying. You know what I'm saying? They weren't just crying, man. They went and did some shit.
How y'all say they put their dick on the deck?
You got to, man.
You know what I tell people though, and then people don't realize that George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, the other dude, the one that they did in Hamilton, those were the second string. There was really your first string of cats. They all got executed though. They all got, they fucked it up. They got caught. Those were like the backups. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just talking about sacrifices. What I'm trying to bring out here. You just got to be willing to sacrifice.
All I know is, man, it don't matter where you are, what you've achieved, what you've done in this country. If you're a black man, you're subjected at any moment to abuse and to failure. Just because that's just how the system is set up. And a lot of it is predicated upon straight lies, partial truths, and just straight out disingenuous postulating, man. And if we don't get a hold on it, and even white, man, they got even white liberals who understand this. Like I got information. I've even made videos about it, man. Like how it's called grievance studies, and a lot of these grievance studies, man, they're predicated on absolute bullshit. And I love philosophy, but I know the limitations of philosophy. I know it because philosophy, you can say anything. All you got to do is just make an argument up. A lot of this stuff is not even verified. It's just what some people wrote down in a book. And they just go out and they talk and talk and talk and talk. And people accept the talking points. At some point, that shit's got to come to an end. What's up, Faulkner? What's good?
What's up, Dr. G?
Man, ain't nothing to it, man. Just on a Friday, man, I just decided to get on and share a little curry so that, people can understand, like, where the idea of the white people or black people came from. It's not even something that Damon Young came up with. He's not the author of this idea. This idea, huh?
It's called the scapegoat.
Oh yeah, but this idea has existed in the academy for quite some time, and it's been proliferated and channeled to other areas of our culture, but it comes directly from the academy. And then you got some men who are willing to push back against it in the belly of the beast to lay a bomb, as it were. You know what I'm saying? To commit an act of jihad, as it were. And, people are looking at it like, fuck that shit, whatever.
You'd be surprised. I spent the whole week debating people on my channel about that. Well, y'all only care about sleeping with these women. And I said, no. Let's talk about how you're raising the boys you give birth to. Let's talk about how we white men of a society, when you're the more educated, you're the more favored. Let's see how your sons are encouraged. Do you tell them they should get their education so they don't have to depend on a woman? No? Okay. And I just go ahead.
No, so at the end of the day, the revolutionary spirit is supposed to be maintained by the women, for real. Like, I'm just being honest. Like, people don't understand this, but as soon as and women that don't understand this are women who have basically been indoctrinated. I mean, for the most part, because if you look at the white women from the South, like I told you, the daughters of Confederacy, they venerated their black men their white men when they lost. But they knew that they had to rebuild the culture and the society, and the only way they could do that was through the agency of the men. And they understood what kind of power that they had. And you got to understand what kind of role you can play and what role you can't play. What you can actually bring about throughout your agency and what you can't bring about. Like, this whole notion, like, we talked about this the other day in the after hours. Like, protecting black men. Like, Charles, man, how much do you weigh, bro?
I'm 5'10", 280.
You 280, man. What black woman can protect you, bro?
Maybe she's from Krypton. I don't know, because I I don't know, because I'm like, I could overhead press pretty much almost my body weight. I could bench press almost 500 pounds. I'm like, I'm actually competing in wrestling, boxing, and mixed martial arts. I'm just wondering, like, and plus, I can carry a gun 24/7. Like, if you can do better than what I'm doing, go ahead, try it. I'm waiting for it. I want to see this.
But you've been in the military. You've traveled the world. You've engaged in operations. You've done a whole bunch of stuff. Okay. And you're a police officer. Okay. Who can protect you, bro? I mean,
I'm like this. I've always said this, Dr. G. The protector should never really always have to take advice from the protectee. Like, I'm just wondering, like, do you really want to live the life that I've lived and be hard and have the scars that I have? Like, why do you praise yourself to be in a man's role? It's asinine.
now look, I don't have a problem with women, being leaders in whatever capacity that they can. And sometimes women are smarter than men. Sometimes women are more courageous than men. I've seen instances in which women are more courageous than men. It just is what it is. Okay? Some men are shy. Some women are outgoing and boisterous. Some women don't have a problem with getting in front of people and talking. Some men, don't like to talk in front of people. So different people from different walks of life and different people with different, personality traits, man, they express them in a variety of different ways. So, people should be free to express themselves in whatever way they can. But there has to be a level of practicality to what we think is possible. Now, I've said it before. Calling white men the white people, calling black men the white people or black people is not protecting them. That's not even protecting their image, their iconography. It's deleterious. It's giving, like Dr. Curry said, man, in the front of this paper, and I read part of this paper. This is part of a means by which a justification for black male death for necropolitics is possible. That kind of thinking allows for the death of black males. It's a justification for killing them. But it's proliferated by a lot of women in our community. That's problematic. And then you got black men who are aping and echoing these points, which makes it even more problematic. And I understand it. Like, there are a lot of men out there who want to protect women. I get it. But you're going about it the wrong way. And then you're not even using all the data. You're not even looking at the reality of what men are going through. But you know what? One thing I do know, the greatest impediment to black male success will not be black women. It'll be other black men.
Yes, Lord.
That's the point. It's not the women that are the issue. It'll be more black men pushing back than it will be black women. That's just the facts, man.
That's just because of just disinformation and misinformation alone.
Or it'll be because of competition. It'll be because of some crab in the bucket shit. It'll be because of some nigga shit. It'll be because of a whole different set of reasons. But in terms of unity, man, black men get mad at each other over stepping over each other's shoes and shit. Stepping on a shoe. Or black men will get mad at somebody because he got more attention in the club than you do. Or, he was able to pick up on the chick and you wasn't able to get her. That's what black men do. But I mean, all men do the shit, but we don't have any institutions that carry us forward, that push us, to work together.
Many times, I think it's because of lack of fraternity and lack of brotherhood and a lack of rites of passage.
Yeah. And look, I'm a member of several organizations where there are men who actually get together and do shit. And it's a beautiful thing to see it work, but it's a lot of arguing and bickering and back and forth before the decision gets made, because it's politics. Anytime you start making decisions collectively, you're going to have yays and nays. People who are going to move forward and people who are going to be skeptical. People who are mad because they weren't the one, who got all the attention or who got the position, and so on and so forth, man. You're going to see a lot of that. in any organization, even internally. You know what I'm saying? So even within the context of a family, fraternity, a church, a business, you're gonna have conflicts. That's just how this shit goes. And I don't mind conflict, but damn, what about the resolution to the conflict? And then Anupta says masonry. Yeah, I mean, even in masonry, even on the square, it's guys that, you know, they get it. Anything can get cliquish. That's just life, okay? But at some point, you gotta lay the click shit down and be like, look, it's bigger than the click. At some point, and you know, it is what it is, man. You know, I'm just trying to make sure that the imagery of black men is put out in a light that encapsulates the totality of the truth, not part of it, not this narrative that's been set out by these women in the academy, but by the facts, by social science, and by empirical data developed in databases from polls and a whole bunch of other stuff, man. Like, we can't keep attacking each other, man, and deriding each other. But I mean, I'm going to be critical of the manosphere to some degree because I'm a philosopher. That's what philosophers do. We're critical of everything. But at some point, we got to build, man, together. We got to do something. We can't wait forever.
Some people think we got a lot longer than we do, but I don't think we have any time left to do anything. I'm actually saddened by that.
Man, the time is always now, Black to the Film. The time is now.
I don't believe that, man. I don't believe that. I just see the shit happening, right? And it's like, I'm like thinking, you know, the thing about it is, as we're not in our prime, a lot of us don't understand what's going on, and then we're like already in the middle of our prime, and then we get to the edge of our prime, and then we understand what's going on, and then we get beyond our prime. And then as we get older, we become more and more vulnerable because we have less of a support system. We have less of a family structure. We're less anchored to reality. Our finances don't keep up with the ever-growing encroachment of expenses that come up, health, housing, et cetera, et cetera. And then right now I see, you know, I see a lot of black men in the edge of their prime, and then you have a younger group that's just, it's in their nature to be you know, savage, the savagery, you know what I mean?
And you know that
we have enough time.
Well, you know, black men, man, you know, like, we got internalized hatred for each other, man. You know, and I think a lot of it comes from the images we see, and you know, the image of manhood that's presented to us, you know, by people. I mean, you know, by people who really don't have our best interests at heart, man. Like, you know, like, I went away to college in '89. Okay, mm-hmm. I came back home in '91 because I spent my first summer in New Orleans. I ain't even come back home. I ain't even want to come back home. But when I did get back home, it was Crips and Bloods in St. Louis. I had never seen that before. Mm-hmm. And to me, the difference was the movie colors. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, now you got, I mean, not to take anything away from, you know, these actual gang members traveling from city to city, proliferating the crack trade, but because that did happen. But, you know, like, it was a lot of guys that they were imitating shit they saw on television.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like, this is how we are now. This is the way to be now, because that's what they saw on TV. And then, you know, black men, a lot of us, you know, black boys are picking up what they consider to be manhood from popular media. Mm-hmm. That's not. We got to do better than that. And then we're picking up the, you know, what black men are and giving representations about them based upon feminist theory that's predicated upon subcultural violence theory from the 60s and 70s by racist white scholars. That's just not. It's not the way forward, man. We got to contest this. And I'm not saying I got all the answers, but I shouldn't have all. It should never be up to one individual, but you got a multiplicity of individuals who are ready to push back.
That's their
Let them do their
job.
work. Let them do their work, man. Amplify their voices is all I'm saying. Amplify them. You don't have to. You can cut me off, but amplify them.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't think this. I don't think there's a real. I don't think there's any problem, Gigi. I think we just need to just move ahead. You know what I'm saying, and just assume it's gonna
You
happen.
know what?
You know what I
Just
mean?
even the idea of
And so,
amplifying a voice,
but
it's
listen,
like
but
in
hold
doing
up, hold up,
that,
hold up, bro,
just like in terms
hold
of
up.
physics,
Hey,
you making
give
it
me one.
loud enough so that it
Hey,
travels farther
give me
and it
one
has
second though.
like,
Hey, bro, give me one
and it
second.
can
Can you hear me?
pretty much make it past more barriers so it can actually be heard.
Hey,
Yo,
hold on. Hey, hold on a minute. He was trying to speak. Hold on a minute, bro.
hello. Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, yeah. So again, I think we should just move forward. You know, my son, right? I never told any of my son any of this, right? My son just popped up one day and said he had all the answers because he could see it. So I don't think it's a matter even of having to convince anyone. I just think the reality is happening where people are just seeing clearly what's going on. You know what I'm saying? My son is, 20 something years old. He can see clearly what's going on. You know, he said that he thought that he was crazy because of the fact that
Well, you lost the
hold
fact.
on a second. No, I ain't lost it. Okay, no. So it was just clear that at a certain point he just got by osmosis somehow what the reality of feminism and all that is, you know. So I don't think that we're behind. I think we're ahead because again, like I said, I think the real battle is really what we're doing. We're having to go against the tide of history, right? And if we really dismantle feminism, feminism is going to reveal the fact that black men have done it all and have been it all. And so I think white supremacy is heavily on the side of black feminists to make sure we don't get the credit for what's due. Because as we know, for a century or two, black men were the most, as you described, black men were the most imported. You know, we did most of the work. We fought in all the wars. You know what I'm saying? I mean, as far as our survival, we didn't need black women to survive at any point. You got females online talking about they was with us. No, you're crazy. You were with us. We didn't need you for anything. You know what I'm saying? you know,
Well,
and so
reproduction, though. I mean,
well,
that's
of course,
important.
yeah. I mean, that's important. That's important. But how important is reproduction to a man that's fighting for his life? You know what I'm saying? He's not really thinking about that. So yeah, but I mean, I'm talking about he's not thinking about that. In the forefront of his mind. Yeah, reproduction is going to happen, but he's not thinking about having kids. It happens, but he's thinking about how to survive. And the women again who are going along with the men are doing it because they need provision and they need protection. But you got women, black women, thinking about history as if they did us a favor by having our babies. And I'm like, bitch, we didn't need you for anything. You know what I'm saying? I mean, in generally speaking, we could find any female and procreate with. We didn't need you specifically. You needed us. So I'm just saying the fact that this what we're doing is going to change history. And what I'm saying, and if we change history with regard to feminism, it's going to change our relationship to white supremacy too, because they also are going to have to recognize that we are the alpha male in terms of what we have overcome and what we've endured as men. We're going to be the top male on the planet. And I'm just saying, white supremacy is not really interested in that happening. So we have to understand that this level of pushback, even amongst our own ranks, is going to be there. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be there.
Well, the only thing I want to do is just say, we got a hell of a fight ahead of us, man. And, look, regardless as to what happens with whatever I bring up, we just, you know, we gotta band together and do something, man. So even if it's a small number of guys, man, whatever the case may be, it still will benefit the vast majority of men, man. And
Of course.
I wish I had all the resources in the world, man. And had grants and funds and shit like that in order to make things move. But right now, they really don't exist for black men. Like Dr. Johnson was talking about this the other day. Like in a whole bunch of cities and state legislatures, they got all these incentives to look after women, and that's primarily because of the inertia of women and gender studies programs all throughout the country. And look, I ain't trying to take shit away from women, man. They need to have their shit and do what they need to do, but don't do what you need to do for yourself by scapegoating us. That's just unnecessary. You know what I'm saying? Like you can find a way to talk about what ails you and how you feel like you're left behind in the system without going off on and without deprecating black men. It's just unnecessary. And black women used to understand that. But this grandfathering in of all women related to the white women struggle is alluring. You know what I'm saying? It's like your way to get something. But like this is why that video from Arami that he put out the other day, why I'm not a feminist, is dope to me. Because what he does is he demonstrates, like, look, people don't act as if womanhood confers perks upon people, man. They act like it doesn't, like there's no benefit to being a woman in this culture. It's all bad. Bad, bad, bad. Ain't like there ain't nothing good about it. Even the men in the manosphere, if a woman told them right now, you know what I'm saying, you in the supermarket and it's some shit on the top shelf and they can't reach it, are you gonna get it for her? Or you gonna be like, bitch, no, I ain't getting that shit for you. You gotta get that shit for yourself. Women's power. You gonna get up, you gonna reach up there and get it, right?
No, no.
I've done that plenty of times, gotten it for him. So yeah.
I'm just being honest, man. Like, because black men are not jerks by nature, man.
No.
We're not.
Yo,
You know what
I
I'm
got
saying?
to a point. I got to a point in my life where I just even stopped holding the door, opening the door, any of that. We just walk to the door at the same time. I stand there just like her, waiting for her to open it for me. You know,
So I mean,
I ain't saying like if a woman asks you, but I'll open the door. Man, Black to the Film. If I saw you 4 paces behind me and I'm going in the door, to me it's just courtesy to hold the door open for you, man. So you ain't got to do it.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool for the.
But I ain't gonna go out of the way and do this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not gonna go out of the way to do it for anybody. Not even a child. You know what I'm saying? Like
that's what I mean.
So Greg, really, the thing is the history. If we really get into the history of this thing, right? The history is that we on the plantation, we were strangers, right? So the idea that as strangers we are, it's like we have to take care of women that we don't know while we're under chattel slavery is just naive. But here's what I'm saying. So because we were strangers and because we didn't have this level of cohesiveness, right? What I'm saying is when we left during slavery and when we left slavery, we did not have to look after these black females. You understand what I'm saying? Because we did not come from a culture where just because you were black, you with me. You know what I'm saying? The whole idea of blackness, right, is a new invention even among us. So what I'm saying is the idea, that they thought that we just had to take care of them just because we were on a plantation together, that's not historically, sociologically accurate. You understand what I'm saying? So if they take into account the real history that we took care of their asses when we did not have to, right? Because coming out of slavery, it was the men that knew how to do all the work, knew how to survive, so on and so forth. We took care of black women. We didn't have to do that. So what I'm saying is, while they're looking at modern day times, black men have never shunned away from black women. You see what I'm saying? And if we didn't do it when they were strangers, why the hell will we do it now?
Well, I got my thoughts on that. I get the sentiment, but this is what I'm thinking, right? I'm thinking like, damn, it's one thing for me, like to talk that way about a miscellaneous black person, like a different family from mine. But I'm kind of hard pressed to think that I don't owe any support or protection for my own sister. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't give a fuck. We could be in the manosphere, but one of you niggas start fucking with my sister, I'm gonna punch you in your goddamn mouth, dog. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I hate to say that. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, it's reality though. You know what I mean? Or I mean, I'm just being real. Like that's my sister. That's my blood, man. And I'm pretty sure you would think the same way. Like that's if a nigga, you know what I'm saying, start jumping bad with your blood, you're gonna have a problem with that, man. Or if somebody if somebody came to your father or my brother, like it's been many occasions where I've been in Chicago and some gang banging little dudes ran up on one of my little brothers or something like that. And I had to be there as an older brother to handle that shit. I ain't had no choice but to handle it. You know what I'm saying? Like, or some little dude is tripping with my sister, then I gotta handle that. You know what I'm saying? Especially if I know that little dude in the wrong. Now, if she in the wrong, I'm gonna check her and be like, "You fucking up. Take your ass in the house and be quiet and learn. I'm about to give you some game on what you did wrong. But you're not about to be out here tripping like that with these dudes out here like that, because you're gonna get fucked up." Okay? But but in general, I get the picture when it comes to like different people, different families or whatever. I get that. But when it comes to my immediate family, man, even my friends, you know what I'm saying? Like if you're my partner, man, and somebody is fucking with you, you might even be in the wrong, but like I gotta handle that with you first, right? We're gonna handle this right now, and then later on, we can, I can go off on your ass and tell you how fucked up you were.
I mean, that's how I do it with my friends, and that's how we did it in the military.
We can talk.
You better not come. You better not come back to the barracks, and one of y'all fucked up. The whole barracks jumping on your ass.
So, but first though, we gotta handle the external threat. Then we can get to how you were a cause of an external threat to us. You know what I'm saying? So we can do that. But all I'm trying to do, man, I would like to think, that at least loosely, we're connected through ideals. That's what at least we're connected to ideal. If we're not connected physically, or we're not connected through bonds in real world, time, we're at least connected through the idea that like black men are getting a bad rap. At least that. At least we can understand that like there are systems in place that basically are deleterious to black male life. At least if we can start from that point and say, okay, well, what can we do about it? We can't do a whole hell of a lot being disjointed as we are on social media. I mean, the manosphere is not a fraternity. It ain't like there's an officer, you know what I'm saying, who's the head of it. Like, where's the basilisk?
A lot of folks treat it like that, though. A lot of folks treat it like that. A lot of dudes treat it like that because they still have not let go of that beta male simp mangina type of mindset. I mean, because you talk about the ideals, they connect us, but the danger of feminism feminism destroys ideals, right? Feminism just says entitlement, and a lot of dudes grow up under that mindset. You know what I'm saying? Say, I'm here in Atlanta, like, man, it's I'm hard pressed to find a real black man walking around out here because all these dudes are out here so emotional all day. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't operate off of principles and ideals because they learn too much from their mama. You know what I'm saying? Their mom don't operate off of ideals. She manipulates, you know what I'm saying, based on the opportunity that's presented her, intellectually and otherwise.
Yeah, emotions. Well, I mean, we know that by nature, women are emotional. They feel the world, whereas men actually, how do you say, what is it? I want to say, like, we have logic. I don't think it's logic, but we just have a different connection to the world in front of us. I forgot what it was, but I know that
we have a more logical standpoint because guess what? Men are always. It's like Vito Corleone said. Children can be careless, women can be careless, men can't.
Yes.
We're always going to pay the price. We're always going to fight the wars. We're always going to defend this land or anywhere we are. We're going to defend the women. We're going to defend the children. See, a lot of women if you ever notice, we have it hard. Oh, really? How? Nobody can directly answer that. I was just talking to a friend of mine when I just got in the house of how black people are too emotional about things. They were like, how's that? I said, look how we're raised. Look at the culture. When you start to be logical, nobody likes you.
Yup.
Oh, you pointing out what I'm doing wrong. Yes, because what you're doing wrong is you're messing with somebody and then you expect me to come play super the simp or super cat to save a hoe and to get you out of your shit when guess what? Here's the thing about what I hear black women talk about, we're not protected. The first rule of protection is listening.
Yeah, so I mean, like this is another good thing that the Arami guy brought out in his his video about why I'm not a feminist. So, like this goes back to philosophy, right? So, I don't know if you ever heard of Thomas Hobbes, man. He wrote a book called Leviathan, and he talked about the state of nature, and he said, look, the state of nature is a situation that's nasty, brutish, and short. The only virtues in nature or in the state of nature are force and fraud. Those are virtues in the state of nature. So, I mean,
Yeah.
like, you ever seen the movie, or the TV show, The Walking Dead?
Yeah.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
like, like if you're in an apocalyptic situation, there is no central government. All you're doing is living in clans, right? And there's scarce resources, and you gotta compete with one another over those resources. Well, you're gonna use force, like, or fraud in order to get what you need from the environment, especially if there's not a lot to go around. Okay, but one of the things that happens, like with the Leviathan and Thomas Hobbes thinking throughout this book, is he comes to the conclusion that okay, so men see this is not an optimal situation, so they give up a portion of their freedom, which is absolute in the state of nature. They can do whatever the fuck they want in the state of nature. Bam. Okay, but they gotta give up a portion of their rights to a sovereign who is a state official to protect them from themselves, right? So that they will not be in that suboptimal state anymore where their force and fraud are the only virtues. But what do they have to do in order to be provided with that safety? They have to obey. You got to
Thank
obey the
you.
law, because if you
Thank
don't obey the law, then you're right back into the state of nature again. You see what I'm saying? So,
And most people can't handle that. Like, there was a book a while ago I used to read. It was a comic book. And it said before there was ever peace and war, love and hate, there was only two things that mattered. Survival, killer instinct, and survival. A lot of people can't even survive in the woods for a day. Imagine if those idiots in DC would have had some hostages or some shit like that.
Yeah.
When people, you hear some of these crazy people talk about, yeah, we need revolution in America. Like, really? That means you're gonna have to survive on your own until we could actually stabilize things. People don't understand. See, that's the thing about it. I've noticed a lot of people talk about warfare, talk about survival, and the comfort of their own home. Like all the white boys you seen up there, they thought they were about it until they see the white girl shot in the damn neck, bleeding.
call the ambulance. Get the
You call the ambulance. No,
Yeah.
you were ready to go kidnap some politicians and them Secret
real.
Service and Capitol Police. See, one of my brothers, one of my good friends, and one of my schoolmates were in that bullshit. I'm getting live what's going
What?
on.
What do you mean he was in it?
He said, well, he enjoyed. He like, man, it was free punch a white guy day.
Wow.
He was like, them motherfuckers were coming. Like he said, you just had feet flying, fists flying, and people's bodies flying.
Oh.
And when you get, and it's funny when you talk about obeying and leadership. See, There are no, what they say in the military, there are no bad subordinates, only bad leaders. And for example, the chief of police failed his subordinates. You were ill prepared. You had a stand down order. You knew this shit was going to kick off. You had prior knowledge, and you underestimated the number of people coming up there and what they would do. And it's the same thing that goes on in the black community. You hear everybody talk about they want leaders, but you don't want to listen. You don't want to obey. You don't want to adhere to the laws and guidelines. And when you don't adhere to the laws and guidelines, guess what? You're going to be subject to those guidelines. You're going to be subject to nature itself. You understand?
Yeah,
your survival is going to be at a minimum. And now a lot of these chicks finding out when that degree is not going to protect you, that degree is not going to provide for you. that I'm a strong woman goes out the window when all those utilities and subsidies and all these incentives are stopped. Now you want to learn how to be a feminine woman when you thought you was Xena Warrior Princess this whole goddamn time.
Yeah, I mean, look, I had a vision, man, about what black men could do for black boys in order to get them prepared, just on a rudimentary level of how to survive in case some shit popped off. And it sounds corny, but black men can actually take these boys to the Boy Scouts, man. At least they learn how to tie knots, start a fire, and how to purify water.
Mm.
They don't even know how to do that shit. They don't even know how to drop iodine in water. They don't know they wouldn't know what to do. They don't know how to tie knots.
That's not even corny. That's not even corny, Dr. G. In the Gray Faulkner Initiative, we talk about how you need to put these boys in male-dominated spaces. I'm sorry.
Now they got places like the Boy Scouts. You got to include girls. But the Girl Scouts don't have to include boys.
Yeah, that's because they wanna disrupt any growth. You can't go too hard.
Well, you talked about the Walking Dead. I mean, when you look at how the Walking Dead, how it kind of played out, it played out in a way where it started saying that women are the new warriors now, and women can take care of themselves and so on and so forth. So that is the imaginary world that black women are living in because they watch TV. You know what I'm saying? And these white folks are telling them that women can do for self in that way. So what happens is the fact that they see their now in this way, they look at history the same way, and they try to pretend that Harriet Tubman was the alpha male and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Man, if you look at that movie, they try to make Harriet Tubman look like fucking Blade.
I haven't even seen that movie, man. I
saw clips of that shit. They try to make her seem like she was fucking Blade, like she was doing some amazing shit. Like I can't even. It's so sad because it's like you watch movies like I love Cobra Kai, but Cobra Kai got its feminist moments too. Like I'm looking at these fights. Notice none of the guys ever can beat a female on that show, ever. And I'm thinking, and even the best fighters, the best male fighters, are conveniently out the picture for the females. So right. She can just walk. I don't care how to a guy who's skilled. I don't give a damn if I'm fighting Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey still has to deal with the blunt force trauma, despite the fact that she's a 6th-degree black belt in judo, that I can produce. At some point, it's like fucking Doomsday and Superman. At some point, you gotta produce enough blunt force trauma. And I'm looking at the show and I'm like, damn, you motherfuckers don't even want a guy to win anything. Y'all don't want to really tell the reality of what men and women physically can and cannot do. Hell, I'm even looking at the goddamn Avengers cartoon with Black Panther. You're basically just as good as a fighter as Captain America, if not better. And you can't handle this one woman by yourself. And I'm like, this is what the fuck y'all feed us.
Mm-hmm.
This
Yeah,
is
recently, so I'm a Star Trek fan, so I've been watching this Star Trek Discovery shit. So, it's it's an intersectional fantasy. So, a futuristic intersectional fantasy. So you got a gay couple between a black Hispanic man and a white man, and they got a girl who is a alien race who's occupied internally by 6 other personalities, male and female. And she chooses to be non-binary, so she's neither male nor female. Then you got the captain of the ship, who's an alien, who's afraid to death, scared of his own shadow, but then learns how to overcome it. Then you got a black female who, ultimately they're prepping her to be the captain. And it capped off with the season finale, like the black woman, she's the most qualified to lead the ship. She can beat up aliens. She can beat up male and female aliens. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a fantasy, man. I understand that people want to be included. They don't want to be left out of the narrative. But what we're doing is we're creating narratives about capacities that don't exist. And then not only that, we're expecting for men to, this is the shit that's fucking men up. So you got all these narratives out there demonstrating that women are just as equal as men in relation to all kind of shit. But then you want men to also treat you like a woman. You see what I'm saying? You see how that works? Like, how is it possible for you to develop these narratives related to equality, but you still want to maintain the perks of womanhood? Either you're going to have to, either you're going, huh?
They still want that protection.
But you can't have that protection and then operate independently.
Exactly.
You can't have it both ways, dude. You can, like I said before, you got women who are like this. This is how women think contemporarily about their lives and their careers. They feel like, okay, I'm an independent woman. I want a career. But in case I don't want it and I want to say, fuck it, I can go find me a husband. So there's a safety valve. It's like, okay, I can do this, but also I can be, I can then switch the whole programming, go visit Kevin Samuels' channel. Now all of a sudden I'm ready for a high value man, some shit like that. This is how they thinking, bro.
Even though you got about 3 kids and you got more bodies than Arlington National Cemetery.
But what they missing though is how they because it's on Facebook now, how the leader of the founder of the co-founder of the Proud Boy, he got a black wife. You feel me? So they're switching in between all that, but then they're switching between, oh, you know what? At some point, if it really goes bad, I can get this white man to take care of me too, because he's been doing it for decades anyway. You feel me?
Right. Yeah, hey, look, man. I have my feelings about like the reason. Put it this way. Yeah, black women are fucking around with white men, but like primarily, white men are not coupling up with black women at the same rate that black men are coupling up with white women. And I think the reason why is because, white men want to have white kids. Bottom line, and black men don't give a fuck. They like black men don't mind having mixed children. I mean, do black men fuck with a white woman and think he gonna have a kid with good hair or some shit? I mean, am I lying about that?
No, you're right.
Like my baby gonna be pretty and all this bullshit. Like I'm like, man, personally, I prefer black women. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just me. Okay. But I don't prefer the attitude. I don't like that bullshit. I don't like the attitude.
I could never see myself marrying anybody else but a black woman. I mean, I've dated other women, but to end up with a non-black woman, I can never imagine that.
Now,
if you see me with a white woman, I'm holding her for backup. She about to go to jail.
Yeah, I don't really fuck with not that I haven't found some of them attractive. Like I've been hit on by white women the whole nine. You know what I'm saying? I just, you know, guys, man, are like whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, but personally, you know, I have 2 kids, man. I'm not looking to reproduce anymore, man. That shit is a headache. You know what I'm saying? As it is, like I got my youngest daughter's 18. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to start that process all over again, man. Because it's in this culture, it's some straight bullshit. You know, it shouldn't be that way. You know, like a man should be able to have control, absolute control over his kids. But the way the system is now, they use the system in such a way that they are the daddy of the kid. They the mommy and the daddy. You know, and so that's a problem, man. And they can do it whenever they want to. It's not like you have a choice in the matter.
Huh?
You could be an uncle daddy just by fiat, just
You about to eat
immediately.
all that?
No, yeah, you could be an uncle daddy, man, just because the woman said so, and there's nothing you can do about it. And if it would be different if the custody was automatic 50-50. But the courts don't see it that way. They just, some states may do it that way, but not Missouri. I can tell you that from experience. You know what I'm saying?
I had to go get my son from his mother. I said, motherfucker, give me all the clothes and shit I bought for him. Since you can't take him to school, it seems like. He's been living with me ever since, so he's 13 now.
So it is what it is, man. All I know is, the world is crazy, man. And it's crazy for us. I'm tired of talking, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm ready to do something. I'm ready to hit them where it hurt. I'm ready to, strike a blow against the beast. That's what I'm ready to do. And that's just how I feel about it. But I prefer a black woman. I just don't like. I know what danger white women present. You know what I'm saying? You get into an argument with one of them, you done.
My mama.
If you gotta put it this way. Let's say, for example, your white wife decides to press charges against you. How you think that's gonna pan out?
Not good. Not good.
Now, if you have a problem with a black woman, they're gonna be like, okay, well, all right. But
No.
the first question the lawyer is gonna ask you is she white or black? Are they not? If you get into it with a woman that's your wife, the first question they're gonna ask you, what race is she?
In my experience, though, I had a white woman that I lived with, and my mama used to tell me, "Don't be over there arguing with that girl," because we was living in the southern city. And I had a black woman that I had a similar situation to, and the police responded the same. I went to jail out the way. It didn't matter what it didn't matter what the argument was for or what the race of the woman was. The cops just want to take a black man to jail because they have to exert that. And I'm going to use this term because I keep hearing it thrown around a lot. That they're the alpha. They're the alpha of that situation, right? They don't want to hear the man's side. They just like, well, you're going to come with me, and that's going to be that. And then everybody do what they do. My philosophy of it is I'm a law-abiding citizen. I just say, fine, take me to the judge. That's how I handle it. But everybody handle it how they want to handle it. But I never saw a disparity about it being the race of the woman. I got cut out of the way.
We'll put it this way. You going anyway. I mean, I'm not saying you're not going, but the magnitude to which the forces will come down upon you and try to, upend whatever it is you fucking with. Man, it's more severe when it comes to white women because all of this is predicated. Womanhood in America is predicated upon white womanhood, man. Bottom line, like so even black women go to jail less than white men. So womanhood, this notion of womanhood, man, carries perks with it. Namely, you're not seen as a threat, and you're not punished for the shit that you do. You're not really held accountable in the same way that men are for anything. That's just a fact of the world we live in. Now, I'm not saying it was always that way, but again, also, women in this country are just assumed to be morally superior to men. Like they care more, they love more. They're kinder and gentler. Man, shit.
I'm gonna
Man,
tell
women
you
hurt
one
people
thing.
all the time, man.
I'm
Like,
gonna tell you one
you got a
thing.
mama, man. Did she whip your ass?
I'm gonna
My
tell you
mom
one
whip my
thing.
ass every day. My mom whip my
If
ass
you
every
ever
day.
want to see, if you want to see the most shocking shit, arrest a woman for domestic violence. Mm.
Yeah,
You
that
want to
happened
see
with.
some. You want to see some shock on their face. Me? Yes, you. Me?
Because
Yes,
they don't
you.
feel like they're accountable for this phenomenon. But we already know that in the vast majority of cases, this is just academic, man. The vast majority of cases, women are kicking off violence in their relationships, man.
In the black community, 67% of the time in domestic violence cases, it's the woman.
But they end up making it, but these white folks, man, first of all, like you said before, the police are incentivized a lot of times to arrest the men. They got these domestic violence divisions and shit. They got prosecutors that are assigned to special task forces just related to the subject, you know, and it's all predicated upon this feminist shit.
This is the reason why I always promote it. Why you need black male officers, because officers determine if it's domestic violence or not. Even in the city of Baltimore, they've actually made the criteria harder to make him for arrest. Did he hit you? Well, I don't know. What went on? No, you going down to write this warrant. Well, I don't feel like it. Well, you're going to put on this paper that you didn't feel like doing it. Because now, see, a lot of times when I first came on, it was like she just said it. Now you got to investigate more, which I'm like, so so you can just lie on this person? And now the city council and everybody said, well, we just changed the criteria in the state senate for domestic violence because a lot of this shit was a lie. So they also found out that a lot of women were kicking off shit. And you got to arrest the aggressor, so a lot of women were getting arrested for this shit.
Right. Well, they, shit. Throw their ass into jail, man. They doing the same shit men doing, if not more. You know what I'm saying? But men are not taught to, respond to it in the same way that women are taught to respond to this shit. And years past, it used to be the police would come and not get involved. You know what I'm saying? But now, after O.J. Simpson, that shit has changed. But it is what it is, man. But y'all, we almost at the 2 hour and 40 minute mark. I ain't expect to stay on this long, but I'm glad y'all joined me today, this evening. Uh, but shit, man, I'm about to get my ass on to a
It's Friday.
sandwich or
What?
something,
It's
to a
Friday.
sandwich.
It's Friday.
Yeah.
Watch the fire. Watch the fireworks.
About to go eat this.
Man,
About to go eat this chicken buffalo pizza that I just got.
I already got me my Panda Express. I already ordered dinner. I was just parlaying with you though.
man, I gotta make dinner. You know what I'm saying? I gotta make it my damn self for my damn self. But it's all
DoorDash, man. Get that DoorDash. Holla at me. I got you. Holla at me. Holla at me, Gigi. I got you.
Hey, look, man, y'all be peaceful, man. I mean, every now and then I'm gonna go off on
Oh
y'all,
yeah.
man. I don't mean to, but I just want to see us win. That's it. I
Oh
want to see
yeah.
us win, and I want to make it to where black men's lives are, less vulnerable than what they are. Because even though we like to act like we hard, we feel like we rough and tough. Can't shit happen to us? Shit can happen to us, man. Things can happen to us. Things will happen to us. Things have been happening to us. And these narratives really don't do us justice, man. These narratives that are put out here about us are not even predicated on facts. In fact, it's predicated on racist social science, man. And so, you know, if we got black women in the academy repeating talking points of racist social scientists from the 60s and 70s, man, we gotta cut that short. We gotta cut that off at the root. You know what I'm saying? You can talk all you want to till you blue in the face with all these women on social media or elsewhere. Until we change policies, we change our image, we change our iconography, and we start to tell the truth, and we start to lay out the facts. We still gonna be behind. And I tell people it's not about whether or not you can get along with a woman or whatever the case may be. That's only part of the problem. The problem is, black men in the United States and in the Western world in general, man, we're subjected to gender side, man. It ain't no other way to really put it. And so until we find out what predicament we're actually in and we can identify it and we get everybody else in the academy and elsewhere to acknowledge it, we still gonna be at the whim of other people and at these arcane policies that don't speak the truth about our lives. And I'm just tired of lying. I'm tired of being quiet. And I'm tired of going with the flow. It's time to disrupt the flow. So it's time to push back. So, and I'm saying it's time to push back in a major way, not a light way, not reprimanding a woman and everybody, like, yeah, that's a score for us. Yeah, okay, that's a score for who? It might arouse sensibilities on social media, but, that shit ain't moving policy, man. It ain't gonna stop Charles Faulkner and what he got to do with his job. It ain't gonna stop shit going on at his level of operation. Am I wrong or right?
No, you're right. You're right. I mean,
So,
I took it so serious that I've been kicked out of ADOS group several times because they didn't like me promoting this feminist feminist stances and this pro male stance. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, yo, if we gonna do reparations, man, you gotta get real about the lives of black men. You can't do reparations and still be pretending that black men are patriarchs. That's just an asinine logic,
and look, here I got to give a shout out to Jazz G on this. She said, "Black kings change the narrative. We are made to believe that black men literally don't feel pain from a woman. We need to see y'all winning again." And I echo that sentiment. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, we're part of the community. Like, if any part of the community, like I said, the community is an organism, whether we don't like, we do or we don't like it. Like, I get Ian's point, but like, I got black sisters, man. I got black girl children. You know what I'm saying? And so, if I'm losing,
she
they
losing
losing.
too.
They losing. If I'm losing, my daughter's losing. If I'm losing, my cousins, my sisters, they're losing. You know what I'm saying? Because they're the ones gonna be impacted by my demise. You know what I'm saying? So we got to start thinking more holistically and stop thinking about, this crazy shit that these white women cooked up after the civil rights movement. You know what I'm saying? Because they just cooked up some shit. I mean, and it'd be different if there was a pushback against it in the academy to counterbalance it, but nobody's been counterbalancing this stuff. No one has been doing it, and so you got a group of men in the academy who are willing to, to counterbalance it right where it exists. We gotta push that, man. Bottom line, we gotta push that. So, at any rate, man, y'all be peaceful, man. It's a Friday. Tomorrow, I think I'm gonna get on here, and I just want to show y'all. Like, I don't know if you would value this at all, but like right now, I'm using OBS as a program to do my streaming. I want to show other brothers what OBS is, and try to explain how to use it. And then
Go
after
ahead.
that, and but the other thing I want to do is talk about StreamYard, because StreamYard charges money for you to have certain functions. But there are other programs out there that you can use to bring in guests and everything, and it's all free. And OBS is free itself too. So we might be able to ditch the StreamYard shit. Not that I love StreamYard, it makes things convenient and easy, but if there's another way we can do this without having to pay money, you know what I'm saying? That's $300 you can save a year if you're using the basic package, or $500 or $600 a year if you're using, their high definition package. So, it's just something to look into, man. Something to, perceive. If you think that'll be valuable, I'll come in and do it. If you don't, I'll still do it anyway. But you know what I'm saying? I just want to show what it's like, in terms of how easy it is to use. It's really not that difficult, and it's free. And you can use it straight to YouTube instead of, going through StreamYard. So,
Okay.
not that I'm doing that, but I mean, I see that you can. I've seen people do it. So, that's what I intend to do. I tend to show people, I want to show people how to use that shit. You know what I'm saying? So, I guess I'll be here tomorrow, man. Sometime before 5 o'clock, though. If I do it, it's gonna be before 5. So, y'all be peaceful, man, and enjoy your Fridays.
Peace.
All right, good night, bro. All
Good night, man.
right, brothers.
All right, y'all.
GG.
Peace out. That's not what I wanted to start with. That's not the one I wanted to use. You know what? Fuck a outro. I'm out this bitch.